Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. I hope that you have been doing well. I have a really nice, fun tutorial that I made. This is kind of my freehand way of knitting a checkered bucket hat, and I absolutely love it, and I want to show you all how to do it. This pattern is super simple, and I literally followed it for this bucket hat and the same for this, and I absolutely love how they fit and how they turned out. Today are going to be this white and this green color. I am using my 4.5mm crochet hook, and I'm going to be using my Craft Smart yarn. This is not sponsored, but I absolutely love this yarn, and this is my go-to. As you can tell, this yarn is a little bit thinner than the kind of cream off-white color, but that's okay. First things first is I'm going to take one of my colors, and the color I'm choosing is my off-white. Well, you can choose obviously whatever color you want, and what we're going to do, we're going to wrap it around our finger here. So you're going to go here, and then you're going to fold it at the back, and then kind of hoop your finger around there so that you have this. You don't want it too tight, you want it a bit loose, because we got to weave our crochet hook under the first one and kind of turn it and pull that forward. Now you're kind of, from this angle, you're going to kind of twist it, because we got to go back up here, wrap the yarn that's connected to our yarn bowl, and pull that through. Okay, that doesn't count as one stitch, so I'm going to be now going underneath, just like so. I'm going to be grabbing that yarn, pulling it forward, kind of doing a twist motion from there, wrapping the yarn around my hook, and pulling through one. Now that's my one stitch. So now I'm going to do that another 7 times because we want 8 stitches. So I'm going underneath, pulling that yarn forward, wrapping around, and pulling there, and 8. Okay, I'm going to pull the short end of the string. I'm going to pull that, and it's going to close that circle for us, and then I'm just going to throw it over there, and then I'm going to still hold on to the yarn that's attached to my yarn ball, and I'm going to weave under the first 2 chains that is the closest. Here, these 2 chains right there, so I'm going to weave my crochet hook in there. I'm going to grab that yarn around my hook, pull through, and then pull through fully. So you should be with this really neat circle, and then you're going to kind of riffle that up a bit to wrap the yarn around my hook, and I'm going to chain up 1 basically, okay? And then now I'm going to be doing my double crochet stitch into all of these chains that we can see on the top here, all along there. So I'm going to wrap the yarn around my hook, and I'm just going to go into kind of where I'm standing right now, going to go under there, pull that through, wrap around, pull 2, wrap around, pull 2. And then we're going to wrap around, and we're going to go into the next chain there, and we're only going to do 1. Then we're going to pause at this point here where there's 2 loops on our crochet hook, and we're going to add our other color. That on there, okay, and I'm going to pull that through. We're going to make sure that the end of our new color is kind of on the same side as the end of our white. So just so that we can focus on having both colors, because we are carrying the colors together. Put our green into the same stitch as the white, because our goal is to get 3 of the same color. So we have 1, then we're doing 2 stitches here, and then we are switching to white. Then we are doing 1 stitch in this chain here, white into the same spot, that's 2, and then our last one, changing to our color green, pulling that through. We're going in to the same spot as the white because there's only 1 there, and then we're doing 2 in here. Then we're switching over to white, 2 here. We are doing 1 more white, and then we're switching to green. Now here it might not have a lot of space, but it should just fit. So now we're going with our green into the same spot because there's only one there, just like so. And then we have one more chain, which we are going to be doing 2 greens. Should be like that, and you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors, just like so. Those chains there, try to wiggle our way. We're gonna bring that hook forward, and we're gonna pull it through those. And you can give your green a little tug if you need. We are going to wrap the yarn around our hook and pull up one like we did the last time. And now for this row, we are going to be doing 2 in each spot. And we're going into our spot, pulling that through, wrap around, pull 2, wrap around, pull 2. That's basically like we have 2. Now we're going into the other chain forward, and we're doing 2 stitches in the same spot. The reason why we are doing 2 stitches in the same spot is because this is increasing from each row so that we can get to that circular form for the top of our head. So now that I'm here, I'm going to be adding my green and literally repeating this pattern. So taking the green and I'm going into the top of these chains here. So I'm doing 2 in each. And then my last 2 of this green. Boom. Okay, now I'm going to switch over to white and do the same thing with white. 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. Okay, and I'll meet you back once we're here to close it off. I have completed my circle here, and now I'm going to be ready to close off. I need to go into these top chains here in the top there. Make sure that I'm using the color that I'm switching into, which will be white. Wrapping that around, pulling through, and pulling that through. So now what we're going to do again is we're going to chain up 1 once we come to this point, and the next point of action is we don't want to do too many increases because then what will happen is this will kind of start to look wavy. We want this to be flat since it's for the top of our head. So what we're going to do is we're only going to do an increase when we feel we need. So I'll show you at what stage you'll probably need to increase. So I'm going to do my regular double crochet stitch. And now I'm kind of looking at this and it's kind of leaning a bit that way. So that might indicate that I need another double crochet stitch just to kind of bring everything forward. You know what I mean? So then I'm going to go 1 double crochet in this white spot and now I'm switching to green. Okay, right about here, it's kind of giving me that feeling that it's kind of leaning a little bit to that side. So I'm going to add another stitch. And now we're kind of straight on. As you can see, I'm gonna close that off and keep doing the last 2 double crochet stitches. You can see it's still very flat, which is nice. That's what we want. And so I'll meet you back when we're about to close this row off. Here at this point, we've done 1, 2, 3 rows, including the little circle inside. Now we are going to be switching the pattern because now we're going to have white come here and green go here. So what I'm going to do once we've hit this point is I'm going to weave into those 2 top chains right there, into the top of that stitch, and I'm going to be using green instead of white. Okay, pulling that through and pulling that through. I'm going to do the classic chain up one, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue the pattern. So only do a double crochet stitch when needed, otherwise every other stitch is just 1 stitch. So you're still going to carry your white with you because we're going to need it for the green spots, but I'm going to go here and do my regular stitch and only do the double in 1 spot when needed. Okay, so I'll meet you guys back once I am back here with our different colors. So now that we are at this point, what I'm going to be doing is continuing the same process. So literally chaining into the top there, using our green, and chaining up, And it's kind of bending up, but that's okay. That could mean that I could be using some more double crochets into each spot, but it's fine. I know that I can still feel it, that it will get flat. This last row, I'm going to show you how to work down on the hat, but you're going to continue to do what we've been doing, and if you need a double crochet in 2 spots, then do that. And I will meet you back when it's at the end here. Grab a measuring tape or something that you can use to measure the inches, because for my head, and I usually make my hats in this size, is usually a 6.5. So you can see that that hits that 6.5 mark, especially if it stretches, is almost at 7. So this is perfect for the top of my head. Now, if you have a wider head frame, then you might be an 8. And so just make sure that when you are using or making your hat, it's hitting that 8 inches mark, right? So my mark hits that 6.5 mark, so this is perfect for me. Now I know that it is officially time for me to close this area here and start working downwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to still use the color that I should be using, which is green, coming through and pulling through. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is chain up again, and then what we're going to do is, here you can see there are 2 chains. Sorry. There's this one here, and then there's this one on the side. So you can see this one here, and then this one, like 2 flaps. I really still need to learn what those are called. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry my white yarn with me still, and I'm just going to do the bottom chain, okay? And we're only doing 1 stitch into each, so no more 2 double crochets into 1 spot. And I'm only going down on that 1 spot there. And it is gonna kind of stretch out like that, but it will go back down. And so out of those 2, I'm only going down that little spot there. And what we're doing now is we're turning the direction of the hat. So instead of going around and around continuously, we're going to be kind of now making like the basket shape. So the shape that's going to be folding up on the side. So I'm just going to go around here, okay? And then literally, once we go around the whole piece, you'll realize that it's going to be poking up because we've changed the direction of the hat. And you'll see that this little rim is here because we are only taking that one side. So that's perfect. And then obviously once you get here, you're going to want to switch your color, okay? So I'm going to do that for the whole hat here, and then I'll meet you back up once we meet back at the beginning. Back to my beginning spot after finishing my first row that is going to be facing down, and I'm literally going to weave into those chains there like we have been, and I'm going to be switching my color at this point. So we have been using green, and I'm going to be using white. I'm going to take my white, pull that through, and pull that through. And now I'm going to wrap that, chain up, and then I'm going to continue to follow the same pattern, which is to wrap my yarn around, weave into the first row there, and only do 1 double crochets down. And then when I get to my point to switch the color, I will definitely switch from white to green. The next 3 rows will be exactly the same. So once you've switched these colors, the next row will be the exact same, and the next row will be the exact same. So I'll meet you when we are done our 3 rows of white here, okay? So this is 1 row, 2 row. On that 3rd row, I'll meet you back at that end point, okay? So I met you guys back where we're left off here. So I've done my 3 rows of white, and everything is looking super nice and neat. And just be careful when you are crocheting. Just keep up with the tangles that can occur. I think there's obviously a way for me to like twist my yarn forward and then maybe use my yarn at the green backward. That will cause less tangles in the long. We are going to be doing green to white, so we're going to be going here, taking our green while we still have our white, pulling that through, and we're literally going to repeat exactly what we've done for this whole section. Just continue to work up, no extra double crochet stitches, and then once we have met with once we have done another 3 rows of green, I'll show you the next steps after that. Here I've done my 6 rows. I've switched my colors, as you can see, and now we are finally working on the rim, and these are the final last steps. So what we're going to do, we're going to have our color here because we are now going back to white, but now what we're doing is we want the rim to stick out this way, so we have to wrap the white around our hook. And we have to grab the chain that is closest to us. Remember, we did the one that was further to us when we were changing the direction. Now we're going to grab that one. We're going to wrap that around. We're going to do our double crochet. I'll show you again. So if there's 2 chains right there, we're grabbing only that one. We're going to do our color, double crochet. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a regular stitch, so double crochet, and then on our 3rd one we are going to do 2 double crochets in 1. So this is 1, 2, so this is our 3rd one. So we're going to do 2 double crochets right there, okay? And then I'm going back to doing 1 double crochet, 2, and then I'm doing 2 in 1 spot. And remember, we're only taking the top part of that chain, not both of them, just the top part, okay? So I'm gonna do this all around, and then on the 2nd rim, we're gonna also do the same thing. So 2 stitches, and on the 3rd, 2 double crochets, and after we're done that, the rest of the rim is just regular stitches. So I will meet you back once I've done my 2 rows here of 1 regular, 1, 2 regular, and then the 3rd we do 2. I'll meet you back once I've done this row and that row, okay? Okay, so now that we are here with the 2 rows of the rim, you know that we have to do 3 rows for each square, so we still need to do 1 more row. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 more row, so white, green, etc., etc. But what we're going to do is we're not adding any more stitches. So I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna get my white, pull that through, and all I'm doing is 1 double crochet into every stitch here around the rim, and then once I hit back to the front, I'm gonna switch to my green because that will be the last row of white. I'm gonna do green, white here, and so on, and then that's it. For the next 4 rows, it's just gonna be 1 double crochet stitch in each stitch, but just make sure that you're changing the color after this row, okay? So I'll meet you when literally the whole hat is done. So I've come to the end of the hat here. I'm just going to attach it. So we're just gonna go in there. It doesn't matter which color, so I'm just gonna take my white, kind of bring it through, and then I'm gonna take my scissors and chop them both off about there. Okay, pull it a bit. See the hat? All we have to do is kind of weave these 2 colors in here. You can see one's a bit higher, so what I usually do is I kind of just take that, bring that in to kind of make that flat and even, and then I bring it over to the white side, kind of weave it around, and then eventually I'll add my knot down there, get that as close as possible, and just snip that off. Some knots, but that's basically it, and I will show you what this looks like. Place that on, you see, and then if I like having the front kind of up, it just gives it that nice look. 3rd hat down, took me about 2-ish hours. 3 here. Might put these in my Etsy shop. They have my logo on it, which is pretty cool. Might add my logo to this one. And there we have it. Thanks so much for following this tutorial. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, just comment below and I will get that started for you. Or I will try to answer all of your guys' questions. And this was a really great tutorial, long overdue, but I'm actually happy with this outcome versus my other ones that I would have made. So this is definitely something that I love. And when that sun comes out, it'll just be like not bothering nobody anymore. But yeah, I do like it out like this, and it's very sturdy as well. So yeah, take care guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.